Alright, let's talk about the 250 versus 300 two-stroke debate. Anyone that has researched the dirt bike has probably come across this question on forums, YouTube, social media, wherever, and I just wanted to share my experience and why I ultimately ended up buying a 250 KTM two-stroke. The video in the background is actually from riding in Marionville in Allegheny National Forest a couple weeks back, a little earlier in the summer. Great scenery there, and of course I'm on the KTM 250 XC-W TPI. So let's start talking about the differences between the two bikes, starting with the 300. What's the biggest advantage? And that's obviously the added displacement. There's no weight difference between these two bikes, maybe a couple grams between the 250 and the 300. It's all really negligible. But what that added displacement allows you to do is go through really technical stuff without stalling as easily. The 250 is going to be a little faster revving bike with that slightly lower displacement in it. My favorite part about this is it allows you to get on the pipe, in air quotes there, a little bit more and not be so worried about the bike just ripping out from underneath you. This might be beneficial to a less experienced rider that's not quite as familiar with two-strokes and their power band. But with today's modern technology, especially on the TPI bikes, I mean, that power band is pretty linear. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I've ridden a couple. They're two-strokes, like an old YZ 250. I think it was like a 2001. And man, that thing goes when it hits it. I've never really felt that on my bike. Yeah, there's a power band that's going to kick in, but it's not like completely out of control like you can get on some of those older bikes. Why did I choose the 250? Honestly, I was buying this during COVID, the pandemic. Everybody wanted a dirt bike. I thought about getting one used, but the used market was crazy. So I knew I wanted a two-stroke. I knew I wanted a TPI bike. I thought it's just a great technology. It's a little maybe easier to maintain. Who knows? Some issues, but honestly, I've had no problems with mine. But the biggest thing was it was available. I had to get this. I purchased it before it was even here, and it was coming in from Florida. There just wasn't a lot of inventory in my area. I couldn't even find a 300. But reading into it a little bit more and then finally getting it, my speculations were kind of confirmed that the 250 really just suits my style of riding. Like I said, this very linear power delivery is great. It's fun to ride. I enjoy that more lively feeling engine because I'm not a great rider. I don't need the 300. You can see that in my videos. I'm learning. I've only been doing this for probably just over a year now. And it just seemed like the better option for me. And again, the 250, it lugs really well. I think the 300 would be better at it, of course. Some of the guys I ride with have a KTM 300, some Husky 300s, but I don't really have any issues with it. I will talk about one issue that I had in another video and how I fixed that, but I think that's with TPI bikes in general. I've never felt at any disadvantage when riding, even against some other 300s. Maybe if you're a really big guy or gal, you might benefit a little bit more from that. But I just haven't had that experience with it. Like, sure, that extra torque might be great sometimes, and that low-end power, and you can shift less. So if you're lazy, I guess that's kind of nice too. But honestly, just look at the type of terrain you're riding, and that'll help you make the decision a little bit easier. One other reason why you're probably seeing a lot more 300s or hearing about the 300s a lot more is that's what the pros are riding in all these hard enduros, the West Series, all of that, all on 300s, I think. I'm sure there's probably a couple guys that are riding 250s, and there's probably even some on 4-stroke 350s or something like that. But the majority of them are these 300 two-strokes. So I think that's what everybody wants. It's marketing. That's what they want to happen, right? They're a little bit higher priced, but I think on the KTM, I know on the 2020 models when I was buying mine, it's $200 more for the 300 versus the 250. So the cost is pretty negligible when you're already spending $10,000 plus on a dirt bike. Honestly, what I think is even more important when trying to decide between the 250 or the 300 is the overall progression of modern two-stroke dirt bikes over the past couple years. Not even just talking about TPIs, but even the newer, the Betas, the Shercos. Those are all awesome. These European bikes have really taken these to the next level. Sure, the Japanese bikes like the Yamahas, the Honda. I don't even think Kawasaki makes anything in the two-stroke market right now, but they're just so good that anyone can do really well in any type of terrain, have a good time doing that, and that's really what you need to ask yourself. If you see one available, go test ride it. At the end of the day, it's going to be you and whatever you enjoy riding. Can't really go wrong. It's probably a pretty anticlimactic conclusion to this video that you probably see in hundreds of other videos, but it really wasn't so much about trying to tell you which one is better. I just wanted to describe a little bit of the differences and tell you about my experience and why I ended up choosing the 250. And honestly, no regrets with it. I'm really happy with it. It's a great bike. The 250 is fun, and I'm sure I would have been saying the same thing if I would have bought a 300 two-stroke. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm going to let the footage play a little bit more because it was a really fun ride. It's not overly technical or anything like that, but man, it's just fun. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them.